Good afternoon. Today is Friday the 26th of July and we are in the Five Bogs. At least for the afternoon. Then we're going to move north and do an overnight further north from here. Checking out number 3's territory again, but we're doing a sweep through here in the morning, afternoon. Don't really have a complete plan today, but mainly because I didn't really know if I was going to get the day off until Tuesday, but I did, and as a result we're doing this. We'll do a sweep down here, we'll do a sweep up there, we'll see what happens, and then we'll do some research over a large wetland if that spot's available, see where we go from there. So that being the case, let's move on along and see what the day brings, because we don't have an agenda, so it's going to be kind of freeform today, along with a couple of tech tests too. One didn't show up until later today. We'll deal with that in the morning, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Back. We're going to be huffing a little bit. We're going uphill. We've been going for a while. We decided we're going to do a loop. Kind of runs around the greater Five Bogs, and then head north. Maybe try to do a campsite vlog at a more leisurely night op kind of pace. I had hoped to gear test a, call it a Swagman's roll. It's a poncho, but it's proving to be warmer than they had predicted today. They were supposed to say like maybe mid-60s at the height of the day, and then it cools off. It's more like mid-70s. Not crazy hot, but warm enough that such layers, although I did bring them, it's better to bring more than you need and not have to use it than to sit there all night miserable, freezing your ass off because you didn't think to bring a coat in July despite being in the mountains. So the other thing I brought was my field computer, my CyberDeck, and that is going to get tested later on for, I don't expect to have an internet connection because you're in the middle of the forest, you're not going to have one. Or if you somehow do, because up the way, like 5 to 10 miles up the way, at the right degree of height and angle, you do actually have a cell tower, so you could get like a hotspot level connection for some things. But that's still going to be limited. So I guess the test for the CyberDeck, basically for those who haven't seen it, I posted a few pictures online on Facebook to it. It is a basically a homemade laptop built into an ammo box for added protection from the elements and such. My answer to a tough book, basically. And resultingly, it's basically a Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigs of RAM. And collectively, 756 gigabytes for space, combined SD card, and a external drive I attached to it by way of USB connection. I have a bigger one too, but I find, interestingly enough, with that one, at least when you're trying to do file transfers, getting into a techie talk for a bit, the right speed and the amount of data you can move, the thing gets tired and you start getting file write errors. So for flash drive related stuff, there might be an upper limit to what's practical for usage every day, but that's my gear test. The Swagman's going to have to wait, I guess, because it's ironically going to be delivered today, and I'm not home, am I? So I'll get that when I get home sometime midday tomorrow. I'll get that and I can have a look. Ow. Probably more suited for the fall as it gets chillier. The guy, an outdoor gear review guy from YouTube, gave it high marks. And to his credit, he is a guy, if you want to gauge camping gear, things like this, survival gear, if something fucking sucks, he'll say, this fucking sucks, don't buy it. He is not a shill. So he's one of these people that has an opinion that I do in fact respect. Because I've actually noticed that the companies that he reviews actually respect him enough too, that when he does give a nasty review, they'll actually respond to him sometimes. And once or twice they've made attempts to address the things he has issue with, because he'll give specific critiques too. That clunking sound you hear is me back bumping the body cam to that. I'm going to save that, I think, for any campsite blogging I do, because unlike this one, that one has untested night vision and a much longer battery life, so you can just kind of have it on and off as you're doing campsite shit, and you can have a more leisurely circumstance. At some point this does actually level off and you're up on the plateau. Just not yet. But I think we already passed it, but somewhere down in there's a wetland. Technically the 7th bog, but it's a snarl of dead trees, deep black water, and basically impenetrable for any practical purpose. And that's that. My hopes for the Cyberdeck, finding it hard to get off the technical tangent, are battery life, sound quality matching. The Raspberry Pi does not have an internal sound card, so you have to pair it with like Bluetooth earbuds. Or in my case, I have a speaker that'll work too. I think I have to take the SD card out of it though, but that's fine. And between those, a couple of basic movies, the Stargate from the 90s with Kirk Russell in it, the original, and then an old Babylon 5 one that I think I've seen once. I've watched the series Babylon 5, but they made a couple of movies after the fact that the special effects were always good, but the acting, depending on the subject matter, was kind of so-so. But it was interesting in that their take on like warp technology and things like this, they did things kind of like they went their own direction with it. And as a result of that, they get some points for originality anyway. But as far as anything going on in the Bigfoot community, I haven't really been in that mode this week. Combined work, the significant other and I looking for a house, and some other time-consuming things, and just haven't gotten there. But that doesn't mean there's really a lot going on. The Squatchachusetts folks seem to have made a deal with a university to handle eDNA, which any efforts meant with good intentions in a scientific direction are a positive development, and for that they get a thumbs up. Won't fault them on that. The nature of eDNA, I think, like so many other things attached to Bigfooting, there's a certain amount of conjecture that it inherently attaches to things. In the past, back before FLIRs became a mainstay of the Squatcher's Toolkit, you had night vision. And there's some very good night vision on the market if you have the money. There's some very good FLIR technology on the market if you have even more money. Because Lord knows the shit's not cheap. So there's that. But the thing to take away is no one tool is the end-all, be-all. A toolkit comes with things to allow for multiple contingency situations and approaches. Warm weather, cold weather, daytime, nighttime, like base camp related night operations, kind of like what I have planned for tonight, versus like a sweep through an area during the day looking for sign. The thing I did earlier in the year over the colder months was take a college level forestry class, which gives you nice grounding in some concepts like that, and you're able to address some things that people put out there that are, if I'm being kind, conjecture. And I hate to say this because it does piss some people off, but not every broken stick pile is Bigfoot. And I know this pisses some people off, but too feckin' bad doesn't change the answer. Not every fucking stick pile is going to be made by Bigfoot. And get these idiots out there, and yes, I'm going into that rant now, of the other nice thing is that the mountain air is clearing out some sinus activity that the southern New England allergens and humidity were having a less than ideal effect on. So that is not a bad thing. But yeah, you have these people that are, who was a tree, oh fuck was that? It's a tree scraping noise, but it was a weird one. Hello. But what was his name? Tree Peepers or something like that. And he, of course, it's all his own private land. And he would never answer a mathematically answering question of how far in is how far in, because you're claiming it's so far in, quote unquote, nobody goes there. So throw us a gauge of how far that is. A mile, 5 miles, 10 miles. You can go through these woods if you want to do a straight overland, and you can cover 5-6 miles and not hit a trail. And for some people, that's way the feck in there. For other people, like if you want to go to the PGF site or something, I've heard that's a bitch of a hike. So that might be longer. You run into trail systems in bigger, more cube-shaped states in the middle of the country, and they're probably going to cover more distance because you got bigger areas than some of New England. Everything is relative, I guess, but this guy wouldn't give an answer. Just like, trust me, take my word for it. No. Too many feckin' charlatans out there in the community. No one's taking anyone's word for anything. I think we've hit a point of like just either blind belief or hard-nosed cynicism where that just doesn't fly. And to paraphrase a phrase and repurpose it, that's why we can't have nice things, because too many idiots say too many idiotic things and just want blind acceptance. And the answer is going to be no. Because no. you don't get... And incidentally, that big pile right there is not a Bigfoot nest. Neither is that. It's forest floor debris. So... It's why I ultimately had to give up on the Bigfoot Believer group. I used to be an exercise in morbid curiosity, I suppose, just to see how far down the rabbit hole these people go. And the answer, truth be told, is pretty painful. They are a weird mix of, I think, lonely people that'll believe anything for the sake of acceptance into a group, to people who are either pathological liars or just straight up like messing with people, to people that are just scamming with, I don't know, some use of AI generated nonsense. And that's something we'll have to deal with in the coming future, is AI related nonsense, unfortunately, raises the bar for what is and isn't a real photo anymore. And the truth is, how do you know? You look at the fingers right now. Somebody made a Trump praying in church one, and if you look at the fingers, clearly AI. And whether you love him or you hate him, he's not a paragon of religiosity. He is about his brand, period. Even as a president. And that's the only bit of politics I'm going to delve into. I did it to illustrate a point. But it's another example of somebody who desperately wants to project an image of somebody that is inaccurate. I just have not seen a religious side of him. And with him being such a public person, a public figure based on his own self-insistence of such, if he was, you'd know it. Because you have those too. You have the ones like, hey, look at me and how holy I am. And that's not what that's about. So, sorry, tough guy. Thought I heard other people in the vicinity. Maybe not. Anyway. The nature of the beast in that group, I ultimately had enough. Because you started having people that looked like scammers. Hey, join our chat group. Why? To partake of more glorious content like you have here? Think I'm good. Get as grumpy as you want. I think I'm good here. Anyway, I think that covers more or less what I'm going to say for now, and I'm going to take a break for a minute and get my bearings, take things from there. But we will be back in a bit, in one form or another. There's a great blue heron. We're going to try to get him on camera. Apparently a grouse. I already see you. There you go. See if we can get him one more time. So we're back. We have made camp. It's not the best thing, but what you don't really see and what you could see is that you have a wetland out there. And what we're going to do later is do some call blasting and some recording out into that area. So that's going to be what we do for the evening, and that's evening plan. I have tested the CyberDeck. If I choose to watch a movie on it later, I have it paired to a speaker. I was saying before how it doesn't have an internal speaker, but I have that remedied, and so that's good to go. And I guess that's about all I got for now. We're going to have a peaceful evening otherwise, and we'll see what comes, or if number 3 stops by, passing through here, down here or something. So just a quick check-in. If we come in later and we have a camera, we're going to probably have the body cam on to test the night vision capabilities. I haven't really done a lot with that. So we'll see how that goes too, and hopefully we don't have company later. I mean, human company, you know what I meant. So that's it for now, and we'll be back later.